Baseball's back, Will, and Blake Snell finally got a home. Let's talk about it, bud. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 73 of Bringing the Heat. My name's Cody Pyatt. With me, as always, the four-seam fastball co-host, Will Sism. Buddy, if you were up at 5 a.m., you got to watch some really good baseball last couple of days, man. Tale of two games. But before we get into that, how the heck are you doing?
Doing good, man. Baseball is officially here. Regular season baseball, which is exciting. We'll talk about those games here in just a second, but excited for this episode. We're gonna have a lot of fun here, and man, I guess opening day was Dodgers Padres by technical definition, but
Yeah,
man, the real opening day where everybody plays is right on the horizon as well. So good stuff.
that's right, man. Thursday, the 28th, so it's going to be very exciting. Man, if you did play in a league that did count these last two games, I hope you started your Dodgers and Padres players this morning because they went off. We're going to talk about it, but before we get into that, some more NL West news because that's where all the players are going. Sorry, Torey Lovello, who said, I wish all the good pitchers would stop coming to the NL West. It's pretty funny. Blake Snell, he finally signs. Will, very exciting. The Snellbait is over. Blake Snell and his agent have finally struck a 2-year, $62 million deal, and there will be an opt-out. That's the style now, man. Scott Boras opt out after year one, and let's do it all again next year because the starting pitching market is not, it's not going to be any less juicy next year, man. We got some big names coming out, but for right now, Snell is a giant. How do you feel?
It felt like this was coming. I think it's a great move, really, for both the Giants and Snell. As I kind of documented the last couple of episodes, whenever the topic came up, I don't love the fact that Snell held out as long as he did, but at the end of the day, it feels like a good fit for both him and the Giants. I think Snell, once he ramps up and is ready to go, the Giants playing in that ballpark is technically a pitcher's ballpark, so I think that'll be an advantage to him.
Yeah,
man. I don't see any reason why Snell won't have a really solid year with the Giants. And from the Giants standpoint, this gives them kind of a sneaky, really good 1-2 punch, man, with Logan Webb and Blake Snell in whatever order you want to put those guys in. And then you got Robbie Ray that's, at some point is going to come back. And so, man, I like the move. I think if I remember right, I had the Giants as kind of my last wild card team. And I kind of feel good about them getting into the playoffs for sure. So, I like the move. And I'm excited to see how it plays out.
So you think that kind of shakes up the West standings a little bit? Then would you put them at 2? With remind me, did you have Arizona at 2?
I did. I think honestly, as of right now, I think the Giants and the Diamondbacks are fairly close to one another. I like the 1-2 punch that the Giants have with Webb and Snell now. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I think they also got Matt Chapman, not to say that Matt Chapman's a superstar anymore, at least in my mind, but I think that'll help that lineup. And so, I think from a roster standpoint, Arizona's roster top to bottom may be a little bit better, but I feel like those two teams are really quite close to one another. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, Erod going down for the D-backs kind of makes it a little dicey as well. It's going to be very interesting, man. Obviously you got the Dodgers at 1, but what comes after that is it's going to be very exciting. Speaking of that, we have an exciting show, guys. We're going to talk about this Seoul series, 2 games over in Korea. Very cool. We'll run through those real quick. Then we're going to have just a quick discussion, or it could be long, Will. Tomorrow's Friday. We can party it up tonight. We're going to do a little bit of draft strategy, season strategy, just as the spirit moves us here, moving into the 2024 season. Like we talked about, it is right upon us. And then something I've been looking forward to, we've got some bold predictions, okay? I haven't seen Will's, and I'm excited. I have my 3 on the dock, and I'm a little nervous that maybe they're not bold enough. But you guys let us know down in the comments, what you think. And, we totally off base. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let's talk this series. I know, Will, I think you were working, man. I got blessed by the scheduling gods because let me tell you something. I was off Wednesday and Thursday. So I set my alarm like a normal work day, got up, did my thing, and then turned on some baseball. It was pretty awesome. And if you joined me, you saw one. It was a tale of two games, guys. Game one, Dodgers took it 5-2. They came back late. It was pitchers duel, really, or really more of a bullpen duel. Both pitchers. It was Yu Darvish. It was Tyler Glasnow. They had some early season jitters. But Glass now went 5, which is very exciting. Still wild. I was texting you about how the breaking stuff looked a little dicey, Will, but dude, he is going to be electric for the Dodgers. Otani was the story, and his wife. His wife got the Taylor Swift treatment a little bit, man. She was on the screen a lot. But he went
Glass now.
No.
Otani. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It's pretty exciting, but good for them, man. I guess we're not really going to touch on we were talking about the show. We're not going to really touch on the Otani thing, that happened between game 1 and game 2. Feel like it's like hugging a porcupine right now. Okay. We don't know what's going on. Obviously the gambling stuff, but moving on, Will, Otani went 2 for 5. Dodgers came back in the 8th. Dude, did you see the play with Cronenworth's glove?
No, I didn't.
All right, so bases are juiced. Thanks for saying no, because bases are juiced. Gavin Lux hits a ball. Was not a line shot by any stretch of the imagination, okay? And his glove, dude, right in the pocket, double play ball. They would have gotten out of the inning, tie game at 2. Went right through his glove. And I'm sitting there like, what are the chances? Like, are the Padres, is their season cursed? Because think about it, he's the first baseman, man. You're taking warm-up tosses before the inning. They've obviously, you get a lot of action. The ball's thrown to you for putouts, and it breaks on that play. It was absolutely, I think the exit velo was like 79, 80 miles per hour.
Wow.
It was wild. It counts as an error, but it's an error on whatever glove company he was wearing. Yeah. After that, Mookie and Otani back-to-back RBI singles, and they took it from there 5-2. Interesting note, I don't know if you've read or saw about this, 5 pitch clock violations. It was weird. And then on the other side, Xander got called out strike 3 with ducks on the pond because he wasn't engaged with the pitchers, what they said, but it looked like he was looking right at him. So I don't know, dude. Any takeaways from game 1?
I mean, I expect some of the pitch clock stuff to happen kind of the first couple of weeks of the season. These guys are, even though they're the best in the world at what they do, this stuff is still honestly kind of fresh. They, maybe some old habits creep back in the off season, and you kind of have to reacclimate yourself those first couple of weeks when, it's a live action and you're just starting to get reprogrammed into, game mode each and every day. So I expect some of that, and I expect it to start to die down after the first couple of weeks of the season. But, that's a crazy play. I'll have to go back and watch the video of that play you're describing about the glove. That's just unfortunate. The problem is, though, when you're playing a team like the Dodgers, you just can't afford to give them extra outs. That's the team that, you give them an extra out or two, by making a mistake or a bad luck thing happening, and they're going to take advantage of it because that lineup's just too good. So, unfortunate for the Padres that they kind of let that game slip away a little bit. But tables turned a little bit in game 2.
Oh, my gosh. Let's talk about it, man. 5-2 win for the Dodgers in game 1. Game 2, different story. No pitchers duel to be had here. 15-11 Padres. Little football game broke out, Will. Yeah. Game was electric. 26 runs, 33 hits. San Diego came out hot in the first and jumped on Yamamoto on his MLB debut. Just watching it, he really struggled with that splitter command. I saw it in spring training. I've talked to a couple people about this. You want to locate bottom of the zone and then it dart out of the zone. It's got to look like a strike to big league hitters for them to swing at it. And it's just ended up in the dirt. And then it got worse. I mean, it was he hit Tatis, I believe, and he was just wild. So 43 pitches for the Dodgers' newest arm, and he was out of that thing. So not what they were expecting. But LA, no quit in that team, man. They fell behind 9-2. And San Diego was still in bases. It was the third inning, still in bases, down 9 to or up 9-2. But that's just because you got to keep scoring, dude. Because they battled back. Mookie hit a home run. He won a car. He was the first one to hit a home run in the thing. He got a car out of it. Made it 9-6. Yeah, it was really cool. Muncie had a lot of RBI opportunities during the first couple of days. These are just my thoughts, guys, that I wrote down. Muncie still can't hit breaking stuff. So that's the book on him. So buckle up if you have him on your team. I got him on a couple, so let's see what happens. He also kicked the ball around a lot in the outfield, which was tough. He had 3 errors, so that's no fun. Mookie would bring the Dodgers within one late. It was 12-11 after his 4th hit of the game. He drove in 6, but Manny Machado hit it out of reach in the 9th, 3-run shot. So 15-11, that's where it laid. Crazy game, man. It's gonna be back and forth all year with these guys, I think.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, obviously this is only 2 games, but the one thing you got to remember about the Dodgers is every single team that plays the Dodgers this year, they're going to give them their best shot. Because the Dodgers have been, and rightfully so, they've been the talk of the offseason by the moves that they've made, by the guys that they've signed. They spent basically $1 billion or whatever it is. And, I think there's something to be said that every single team that plays them this year in every single series, they're going to get their best shot. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see how this plays out. I'm not ready to write any stories after one bad start, but Yamamoto getting off to a shaky start is obviously not ideal.
Yeah.
Let's see how he bounces back. I've got to believe that he's going to be fine. I've said that it's going to take him some time, though, to get acclimated to everything over here, right? And so let's not panic after one start, but obviously that's not ideal. But kudos to the Padres, man, for stepping up to the plate. They had a chance to take two of these games, and at least they got the split. So, let's just see how this plays out. The NL West is going to be a lot of fun this year.
No doubt, dude, man. That is, you got the Rockies in there. That's the only team we haven't talked about, okay?
Yeah.
So shout out to Ezekiel Tovar and Nolan Jones, okay? And good luck. Go get, make a trade for Alek Manoah, okay? Because he is a franchise changer.
Right.
He'll make your never mind. I want to be nice. He's gonna make your team a lot worse. And next topic, we're moving on, which is a good strategy. Will, let's move on and talk about our plans, our thoughts, man. We've done a lot of prep for this 2024 season, and contrary to what we've been doing, which is drafting since January because we love baseball. Most of the drafts happen this weekend, so we just have kind of an open thought. Here are some strats. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, I just like to begin with the basics. If someone's kind of new to fantasy baseball, if this is the first time you've played and, you're trying to figure out what you're doing, or maybe this is the second or third time, and maybe the first or second time you didn't take it too serious, you didn't know what you're doing. I mean, I always start with the basics and say, look, the first thing you got to do is you got to understand the scoring and the roster spots in whatever league you're in, right? So, if it's a category league, that's going to be a little bit different strategy as opposed to a points league or a roto league. And so, the first thing you need to do is figure out, all right, am I in a category league? If I'm in a category league, what are the pitching categories? What are the hitting categories? And then you kind of adjust your strategy accordingly from there. And, if you've been doing this a while, obviously that sounds kind of like common sense, but there's some people that have been doing this for a little bit and they still have no idea what they're doing. So, the idea is you got to understand what scoring is in your respective league, and then obviously understand the roster spots.
We can talk about it real quick for
go ahead.
Categories. Just the rotisserie on it real quick. So it's standard is 10 categories: 5 pitching, 5 hitting. The 5 hitting: runs, home runs, RBIs, stolen base average, and then the 5 pitching, you got wins, saves, strikeouts, ERA, and WHIP. So Yeah, it's when you're drafting rotisserie versus a points league. I think I kind of wrote this down. Well, it's important to understand there's going to be certain players that rise and fall based on that. And so
Right.
we're talking about roto right now. So uh, you want to look at counting stats. That's the big thing. Points is a lot like football. It's what everybody
Yep.
sees in football. Okay. And there are things about that matter a little bit more, matter a little bit less. Um, Average matters more with roto. It's one of the categories. We just talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Stolen bases, more important with roto. And so you'll look at a guy with, like I wrote down Ellie De La Cruz. He has potential to go 30-30. And so this is a guy who's going to be a plus contributor in 2 to 5 categories, if he can get his average up and,
Right.
and, and whatnot. And, I think he's going to bat high in Cincinnati, so runs
Yeah.
also. So, and he's going to steal a lot, like I said. So, this is the guy who's going to go third, fourth round. I mean, very risky, but there's upside there. In
Mm-hmm.
points, he's ranked 130 to 150 just because
Yeah.
the strikeout rate, and so that's going to kill you in a points league. So yeah, that was just my little 2 cents on the roto there. Will, what were you going
And
to
what
say,
would you
buddy?
say just as a follow up to that, like kind of
Yeah.
comparing categories and points leagues?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is kind of the major differences in strategy for pitching specifically in those?
So I listen. Here's my thing about points leagues and pitching. I think the common knowledge is, you want to get good pitchers, and I believe that's true. But I actually focus more on hitting. You always talked about zigging when other people zag, and I kind of like that. The top pitchers in points leagues, they're going to get you, depending on how it's formatted, they're going to get you 15, 16, 17 points to start if everything goes well. And that's looking at innings pitched, it's looking at strikeouts, ERA, all that stuff. But it's in a points thing. Um, I go heavy starters, and I do not go relief pitchers. Unless you'll see them in points drafts. They'll fall because over the year you'll get more points from a middle of the road starter than a Josh Hader.
Yeah.
Or a Edwin Diaz. Bad example
Right.
last year. He didn't give you any points. But
Yeah.
so all that to say, I usually attack hitting first because I can get solid point production from the middle of the glob pitchers. So, and like I said, I have several. I think I have 4 or 5 points leagues right now. No relief pitchers. I mean, you just don't. To me, you don't need them. I won a lot last year without them. We'll see how it plays this year. The thing about relief pitchers, it depends on how much a save is worth. Some it's worth 5, some it's worth 7. You'll get the random save here or there. You'll get like 1 or 2 of those a week, and that's nice. But if you have just a stable of arms, solid arms, you don't want to just get people off waiver wires because you can get negative points if they get shelled. But if you can get a solid stable of arms, guys can give you quality starts. You'll get points for that. Innings, strikeouts, you can produce quite a bit of points, and you don't have to spend on that top reliever talent.
I like it.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts there. Well, let's see. Will, my biggest example of a guy for a points league hitter wise that shoots up the board, a guy like Kyle Schwarber. Okay, because he's gonna strike out a lot, but he does walk quite a bit, and so the walks are nice, and then the home runs. Obviously, anybody who can hit, 40 bombs and drive in 100, he's gonna score you a lot of points. So yeah, a lot of points leagues. You also run into the corner infield, middle infield spots, and yeah. So you get a little bit more depth than I feel like in roto leagues, which is nice. But yeah, Will, you got anything else before I got another point that I've kind of fallen into as I've drafted?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I thought that was kind of I was going to let you go on the points because I know you play in a lot more points leagues than I do. But
I do love I do love the roto in the categories though, just because that Saturday Sunday feeling, when you have to make those decisions. It does very, very rarely do you have to do it with a points league. Points league, you're just like, I'm just going to get more points and let's see who scores the most points. So it's very simplistic. It's fun.
Yeah.
But to me, I love that, Sunday morning feeling. It's like, do I start Brian
Yeah.
Bayo, or
Yeah.
is he gonna
Yeah,
get
and
you?
I would say this, like I know we talked a little bit about this last year when we did our strategies, but just for any of our new listeners that might be trying fantasy baseball for the first time, like if you're used to fantasy football
Yeah,
and you like fantasy football and you're kind of wanting to dip your toe in the water a little bit with fantasy baseball, I would probably recommend actually starting out in maybe a points type league
yeah,
because the scoring format is going to look a little bit more familiar if you're used to fantasy football. Whereas if you dove straight into a category baseball league, it would just be a little bit different. So,
yeah.
not to say that you couldn't do a category league and have fun with it, but if you enjoy fantasy football and that's kind of something that you enjoy and are used to, it might be a good transition.
I think it's a great way to get your toe in the water and just the
Yep.
feel of a daily lineup, or even, some people do it weekly. You said it weekly; it's a little bit less maintenance. Nothing wrong with that. But categories will get you hooked, man.
Yep.
Categories. I mean, you got to really check yourself. You be looking at your phone all the time. That's not the way to live, Will. You got a whole life out there, buddy. Um,
Right.
and I got I got one more point that I really, honestly, this
Go for
show
it.
kind of helped me stumble upon. We were doing that mock draft, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of hit a light bulb in my head. And
Mm-hmm.
it has to do with position eligibility.
Yep.
On the base case, it's pretty simple, right? Okay, you got guys, they have more than one position. It makes it easier to set your lineup every day. And that's not new to me. That's not something that was like, oh, light bulb. But here's what happened. Okay. I got Mookie first round in that draft. And it felt uneasy to me because I never knew where I was going to put Mookie Betts. Okay. I was like, okay, he's definitely going to be my second baseman, but then outfield started to dry up. So then I moved in the outfield. And then I got a second baseman, but then shortstop started to dry up. So I got an outfielder, moved him to shortstop. Then it hit me. If you draft players with multiple eligibilities, you'll let the draft come to you. And I've been doing that
Mm-hmm.
a lot this year, and I'm really liking the way it's coming out on my team. And you're going to listen to that and be like, that is the most basic thought ever. That's going to be like you flip the switch and the light turns on, and that is as simple as that is. But um, it really helps you when those positions start to feel shallow. You can just attack a different position. And so there's not always a ton of guys. I mean, Mookie Betts is a top 5 player, and he's got this ridiculous eligibility. And by the way, I meant to mention it. He is freaking as smooth as ice at shortstop. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, you called that, and it's a long year, but the dude is just filthy. He's just
He's not going
a
to have any problems.
he
He's too
might be
good.
he's like my favorite baseball player. He's just the coolest. He's
Yep.
just the coolest cucumber out there, man.
He makes it look easy.
He does. He does. It's unbelievable, man. Um. Anyway, seems like a
No,
basic point.
let me jump in a little bit on your point there because I really like the point that you're making, and I'll be honest, like I've been playing fantasy baseball for a long time, and I've seen a lot of things that work really well, and I've seen a lot of things that don't work very well. And um, to your point, I think we were actually texting about this a couple of weeks ago, Cody. But I've never, up until really recently, I've never really, um, how do I say it? Like I've never really targeted people, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
specifically because they have multiple position eligibility. Like I've never really done that.
Yeah.
But what I am starting to see um is just like what you said, Cody. I mean, I'll put it this way. I think from an advanced perspective, like somebody who's been doing this for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think something that I can do really well is I'm able to pivot really quickly
Yeah.
during the draft. Like in other words, I go in with kind of a game plan, like a general game plan that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see the draft going in a certain direction kind of early,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I need to pivot a little bit off of the strategy
Mm-hmm.
and go just a slightly different direction than maybe what I was anticipating. But
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of what the draft is telling me to do.
Yeah.
And so you're more easily able to do that
Mm-hmm.
kind of on the fly when you do have one or two guys that have
Yeah.
those multiple position eligibility, because like what you mentioned, Cody, when you get towards the middle to end of the draft and you're trying to fill out your roster and figure out, all right, where am I really good at? Where am I maybe weak at?
Yeah.
Those guys that are eligible at multiple positions basically give you two positions or three positions to look at,
Yeah.
because you can move around whoever it is. If it's Mookie Betts, you can move him to outfield if you need to.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so, to your point, I'm definitely coming around to, I'm not saying draft, um, I don't know, Luis
Yeah.
Ariz,
Yeah.
super, super early. I'm not saying that just because
Yeah.
he's got two, he's eligible at first and he's eligible at second. I'm not saying that at all.
Sure.
But if you're kind of in the range of somebody, or if you're debating between two or three guys
Yeah.
and this one guy has multiple positions, it could be an X factor for sure. So I
I,
say all that to say that I'm with you. I think it can definitely be of benefit, especially helping you kind of make those pivots in
yeah.
certain drafts.
Yeah. That's what I was just fixing to say. I don't think I'd reach,
Yeah.
I wouldn't reach in the draft over talent. Okay.
No.
But if you're looking at two guys that you like a lot, like we did, Spencer Steer and Tristan Casas.
Yes.
And the more, in that example, I think we both went Steer. I'd probably go
Mm-hmm.
Casas, but Steer will get you first, second, third outfield.
Right.
But my mind has changed. I love my Red Sox, and I'm gonna go down on that chip wheel. I don't know, man. It's his time, baby. It's his time.
Yeah.
But it is nice. I mean, it is just nice. I mean, I picked him kind of in the middle of a slow draft, Spencer Steer, and I had the
Yeah.
same thing. And dude, when you start off doing this, and if you care about it, you'll go through, just like in our podcast league draft. If you guys listen to that little truncated episode, you'll it's like going through the drudges, if that's even a word, and you're just like, I can't find a groove. This is like a groove finder, because you can just
Yes.
pivot. It just helps you pivot, just like you said. And somebody's been
Yeah.
doing it as long as you have. It's like no sweat. I've been here before.
Yeah.
But as a relative newbie, I mean, this is newbie. This is year 3. Been in a lot of leagues, learned a lot. But still, it's the reps of doing the dang thing.
So you kind of, Cody, threw me a softball right there, because that was kind of going to be my next question. Like you definitely know what you're doing, but you still haven't been doing this a super long time.
Yeah.
So my question would be, like, if you could throw this out there, what would be, it's kind of a two-part question. What
Okay.
would be your best advice? Just very simple. What would be your best advice for somebody who's doing this the first time?
Yeah.
And number two, what would you say that you have learned, like kind of a big takeaway?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned maybe the most, I guess is the best way to say it, over these past 2 years of playing for the first time?
Yeah. First timers, easy. Have fun, man. If in the original league, we've talked about how it went, the very first league, and so we're not going to talk about it. But dude, it gets you hooked. You have fun, and hopefully you meet some cool friends, some cool guys, and dude, it just gets you into baseball. And that's when you pitched it to me. That's what you said. It's every game you turn on, there's going to be a reason to root for somebody, and so there's a reason to be invested, and you just enjoy the game. So new people, have fun. Give yourself grace, just like anything in life. First time you're doing something, be nice to yourself as you're trying to figure it out. And then what have I learned? There's a lot more to the season than the draft. We do all this draft prep, and it's good. And I'm still like working through this personally, as far as I don't make a lot of moves because I don't draft players by accident. There's a lot of thought and there's a lot of thought and there's a lot of purpose behind the selections. I mean, even late in drafts, it's like there's a game plan there. And so sometimes I get these offers, they make sense, but it's not part of my plan. And plans fail. It's, I'm not batting 1,000, but so that's kind of things I've learned is, the draft is step one, and you can feel really good about your team, but you got to make moves. You got to watch the wire, and you got to kind of fill it out, and that's another thing, and we can talk about it during the regular season, and I'm sure we will, with who's on fire in the wire and
Yeah.
whatnot, just dusting off those puppies. I'm really excited, but when to drop somebody, when do you cut the cord, man? Because you draft
Yeah.
these guys and you have these projections. Thing about projections is, it's not a game by game thing. It's over the full season. So if you tell me someone's going to go 2020, but they start out and their batting average is 091,
Yeah.
that is a tough pill to swallow on your team. I mean, it's an anchor, and you're
Yeah.
losing in these head-to-head weeks, and it's no fun. So it's kind of how to know when to react. You don't want to overreact. You don't want to cut bait too early, but you also don't want to you don't want to sink your ship. Will.
I agree.
Yeah. Hey, it's getting a little cold in here. I mean, it's getting a little bold in here because we're fixing to do our bold predictions. I ruined that dad joke. Oh man, I'm gonna say it's getting a little bold in there, Will. I'm getting a little bold over here.
Burr.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I'm really excited about this, man. We got 3 apiece. I want you to lead off because I just want to react to whatever you have to say. Here we go.
All right. So first bold prediction for 2024. I've kind of alluded to this if you listen to our past episode, the last one or two. I've got both Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer both finishing outside of the top 60 starting pitchers this year. I think Max Scherzer's is going to be, oh God, how do I say it? I mean, I don't feel great about him stuff wise anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not going to pitch until probably June or July. I know they're shooting for June, but I don't know. I just don't have a great feeling about it. It just feels like the injuries are really mounting for him.
Yeah.
For Justin Verlander, I kind of feel sort of similar to that. Not quite. I feel like Justin Verlander still got some pretty good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite what it was a couple of years ago, but it's still good enough.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with Justin Verlander, though, is I feel like he's already got the shoulder issue.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Astros are going to be, I guess, lack of a better word, I feel like the Astros are going to be kind of cautious with him. Because I feel like the Astros are obviously going to be a good team this year again. I think that their bullpen is the absolute strength of that team, along with kind of the middle of that batting order. And I feel like the Astros are kind of it's almost a luxury to have, that they're going to be in a pretty solid position, with the rest of their team. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're going to be able to be very cautious with a guy like Justin Verlander. So I feel like the Astros at some point could start to maybe limit some of his innings. Mm-hmm. He might go on a couple of IL stints just throughout the season to kind of preserve the tank a little bit until they get to, September and October, which is where they really want Justin Verlander to be at his best. So I say all that to say I love the two guys. They're first ballot Hall of Famers. But I think for this year, if you've got them in fantasy, I think they might disappoint you.
Yep, dude. I see the lane for both. I think that's a great one. Great one to start us off. Max Scherzer might not pitch enough if he has issues to score inside that, no matter how good he does. So that one I can wrap my head around. The thing with the Verlander one, the lane is just what you said. Houston saying, okay,
I think they're going to be cautious.
Yeah, and so I agree with you for sure. They've had more injuries since we've last talked. Got a little heated last time we talked about the Astros rotation. Well, now we got Urquidy with a thing. McCullers is never coming back. He's doing his tequila journey. Luis Garcia, Tommy John's coming back. So we'll see. And then that's all of them. And then JV's number 4. So they're going to see what they have in this Blanco character who's got pretty nice stuff, but to stretch him out and say, okay, I mean, maybe he can be a 5 and fly guy or a 4 and fly guy with the bullpen they're rocking in Houston. But I think it depends on what that division looks like.
Yeah.
What the, will they push it more than they should if they need to, I guess is my question. But I think it definitely could happen. I hope it doesn't because I got Verlander at a discount on a bunch of teams. But
Yeah.
I like that one, Will. I'm going to go. And I'm going to go ahead and preface this with I wrote this down on my notebook before Yamamoto had his tough major league outing. Okay. So I just want to say this. But my bold prediction is Bobby Miller, who has an ADP of 77, will outscore Tyler Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They're 44 and 45 in fantasy and points leagues this year. Okay. This is a points league take, strictly points league. It's not the hottest take, I guess, because I think you can see a world where Bobby Miller is as advertised, and obviously Glasnow goes down, and Yamamoto does what he did this morning. I mean, it was tough. Miller, man, I think they're going to be forced. Same thing with Houston. They're going to be forced to let him go. 124.1 innings last year in his first year. Solid year. I think he's going to push.
160 or 170 feels about right.
Well, yeah. And so in points league,
regular season.
Yeah. That's another thing. But dude, they're really hurting. I'll pull it up real quick. Let's see. LAD. Hello. Yeah, man, the rotation is looking. I mean, let's see what we get from Walker Buehler. But it's looking tough. You got. Well, this is not right. I need roster resource to pull it together. They have SP1 is Tyler Glasnow. SP2 is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and that's it. No more SPs. Gavin Stone won the 5th job, and then you got Paxton and Miller. So that's who it's going to be. I think Bobby Miller will be the best pitcher. He's got the stuff. His K per nines was just a smudge below 9 last year, and I think he's nasty enough to raise that to like 10 or 10 and a half. And then you're looking at a guy who's going to get you 190 strikeouts, and boom, he's going to score more points than Glasnow, who pitched 120 innings last year. He's absolutely gross and disgusting, but I don't know. That's why it's bold. It's because it's not that obvious, but I do think it could happen. Will, any thoughts?
You know what? I like where you're headed. I don't hate it. I really don't. Here's my thing. I think, and this is a huge if.
Yeah.
I think it all depends on Tyler Glasnow's health.
Mm-hmm.
If Tyler Glasnow somehow, some way, even though he's never done it before, if Tyler Glasnow pitches 150 or 160 innings, he might be, other than Spencer Strider, the best pitcher in the game.
Yeah.
That's how good the guy could be.
Yeah.
So that's really my only qualm with it. It all depends on Glasnow's health. Yamamoto, he is such a wild card right now. I mean, I don't put hardly any stock in the spring training stuff, but I would have liked to have seen him look a little sharper during spring training. I'll at least say that.
Yeah.
And then him going out, I get it's one game. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But it is just not ideal, man.
Dude, it didn't look good. And I'm not saying let's torch this guy, but listen, and we talked about it. You made the greatest point. You texted me and said, most drafts happen this weekend. Yeah. He could go up even higher if he does well, or let's see how far he drops. You get a chance to give him at a discount, and I guess that's the world we're living in. Yeah, I'd encourage anybody to go back and watch it and let me know what they think. But I love the Glasnow take, dude, because he's 12.2 Ks per 9. He's absolutely disgusting. I think if he pushes 170, he could win the Cy Young. I mean, with that
I would
lineup,
call him the favorite right now if he got to 170.
Yeah, I hate, and I kind of hesitated to put this down is because it feels like it's kind of unspoken. If he doesn't score more points than Bobby Miller, it's because he gets hurt, and I do not want him to get hurt. I love watching the man. He's a man possessed out there, and I love that man. He seems like the nicest guy. I've seen him in interviews.
He's a cool dude.
He's the coolest dude, but when he's out there, man, he is a dog, and I think it's awesome. Your second bold prediction, buddy. What do you got?
All right, here we go. Let's go with number 2 here. Let me make sure I'm not getting out of order. Okay. Let's go to New York. So we started so now we're going to New York. We're going to the Bronx. Gleyber Torres.
Here we go.
Finishes as a top 3 second baseman this year. He's going to hit over 30 home runs. He's going to drive in 100 runs. for a Yankees team to where it looks like the lineup might have to kind of carry him for a little bit.
Okay.
I think he's going to be hitting kind of somewhere right behind a Soto, a Judge, some sort of combination there.
Yeah.
And I think Gleyber Torres is going to take full advantage of it. He's going to prove all the doubters wrong. Not that he's been that bad the past few years, but I think he's going to really take off again and remind everybody that first and second year wasn't a fluke. So Gleyber Torres finishes as a top 3 second baseman this year.
You know why I like it, Will? It's your favorite thing. It's a Gleyber Torres walk year. So he's trying to get paid. And I like it.
Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank, dude. He had a really solid year last year. How about 25 and 68 home runs, RBIs, respectively? They 13 steals. That's not nothing. 800 OPS on the dot. This is a guy he'll take a walk and he doesn't strike out a lot. And so he's a great pick. And he'll fall a little bit, man. 90, 93 overall ADP average. So, yeah, he's good. I like it. I think he's in the lineup for it. And quite frankly, the Yankees are going to need it. They're going to compete in the AL East, especially with Cole being out the first half of the year. Love it, dude. I love it. I hope it's right. Got him on a couple teams. Here we go.
Yeah.
This one, it's pretty bold, Will. I know you saw it, so I guess no surprise. But white knuckle Craig Kimbrell will have a career resurgent. You laughed. He'll have a career resurgent year and lead the league in saves for the Orioles. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. This is your Boston throwback pick, Cody, and I understand that. That's fair, but let me explain. Okay, Orioles, obviously they're going to be in a lot of situations to provide for save chances. All right, this dude, you look at the numbers for Craig Kimbrell. He will, should be in the Hall of Fame. We'll see what happens.
Oh, but he's a Hall of Famer.
I gotta be, man. He's got over, what is he, like 3? He's pushing 400 saves.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I'll look it up when I kick it to you, but I know he's pushing 400 saves. So here's what we're looking at. Lots of save chances. He's still hucking the ball 96 miles per hour average. He can touch 97, 98. K per 9 last year. I wrote it down, so I'm not going to ask you to guess, but 12.3. That's solid, man, for a reliever. Come on. And then home runs per 9. This is what I got a little interesting. From 22 to 23, it doubled. 0.6, and more than doubled. 0.6 to 1.3 home runs per 9. So that's not great. But what did he do? He went to Baltimore. Okay, you leave a place like Philly. Now you're going to Baltimore. They moved the left field back 1,000 feet. Okay, you cannot physically hit a home run ball over the left field fence. True. Okay, and it's true. No, they did move it back. They made it taller, moved it back 20 feet. Okay, so that's not nothing. That's going to help my man Craigery. Okay. And I'm excited to see it. He's gonna, man, dude. I think the orange is gonna play with the beard. I don't know. We can speculate. Is he gonna go ponytail? I don't know. Is he gonna go man bun? I don't know. I think you go full.
I hope not.
Let it eat. Just let it come down, okay? And just after a save, go to YouTube if you want to see me flick my hair around like a silly person. Also, I've been working on this fruit smoothie my wife made me before the show, and it's got all kinds of seeds and stuff, so those will be in my teeth. So we want to encourage you to come to YouTube, bring in the heat, leave a comment, tell me how ridiculous I look. Dude, Craig Kimbrell, saves leader, book it. If we gotta go to Vegas and put money down, what do you think?
You know what, I don't love Craig Kimbrell at this point in his career, but I'm kind of with you. I think as long as he doesn't have like a train wreck of a first couple of weeks of the season, I think it's highly possible because you said it. I mean, the Orioles are going to provide for a ton of save opportunities. And as long as he's healthy, and again, as long as it doesn't go off the rails the first few weeks, he's got a great shot at it. I mean, because you think about the other, what we think of the top closers in baseball, you think of an Edwin Diaz, you think of a Josh Hader, you think of Devin Williams, who's now hurt. Obviously Josh Hader plays on a really good team in Houston, but Edwin Diaz, I don't really expect the Mets to win a ton of games, So again, to your point, Baltimore is going to win a lot of games. And again, as long as Kimbrell gets off to a decent start, I don't hate the prediction.
Yeah. Also, just kind of weird fantasy fact. It's kind of a misnomer that the closers, this is like going against my point, but the closers on the best teams get the most saves. That's
Right.
not always true. Last year it
Look at
was
Evan Phillips.
yeah, Evan Phillips, yeah, well, the Dodgers are going to beat people more than by
Right.
more than 3, but yeah, you look at Duvall and Class A, he gets it
Yeah.
every year. But Kimbrel says, "Nah, dog, I got this, okay." And he's going to come in with his hair down and twirl it. And I'm
I like
excited
it.
for every. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I do this, man, just to put a smile on your face. Hey, point number 3, man. Pay for the whole seat, only use the edge of it. Let me hear it.
All right, last but not least, we're going to Cincinnati.
Ooh,
My boy, Christian Encarnacion Strand,
here we go.
tops 110 RBIs, hitting in the middle of that young Cincinnati Red lineup, and vaults himself into top 30 or 40 consideration overall into 2025.
Dude, I
How about that?
I love it. I love it, man. He's yeah. I listen. We had Matt McClain. He's gone down. He's going to miss time. He might
Yeah.
need surgery on his shoulder. So gone are the days of the logjam in Cincy. And good thing they didn't move anybody. And like the foresight to go out and get Jammer Candelario,
Oh, it
unbelievable,
looks brilliant now.
dude. It's unbelievable. All that to say, CES, it's gonna
He's
be
gonna rake, baby.
it's gonna be his time. That team, and seriously, MLB fixed the blackouts because I can't watch it on MLB.TV where we live. That team is gonna be so much freaking fun to watch. That ball is gonna be flying out of Cincy, and I love it. I love it, dude. I think he's something spectacular. He's like 150s, 140s ADP. This is a guy that you can draft as your backup first baseman, put him in the util spot, and let him eat in the Great American Ballpark. I love it. I think that is a great one. Man, I thought you were gonna go Ellie there.
No, I don't know yet what to think of Ellie.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to go one of two ways with Ellie De La Cruz. He is not going to finish 30th or 40th or 50 where he's getting drafted. It's either going to be like top 10
Yeah.
or it's going to be like way down there.
I had such a good call.
I don't see anything really too much in between. I think it's going to be either spectacular or spectacularly disappointing.
Dude, that is such. I have not heard that. That is a great call. Let me tell you something. There's no middle with this guy.
No.
There's no middle. He's going to be like, we're going to be taking him top 5. Or, dude, people listen. We do it every year. We do it every year. We're still going to be taking him next year in the 3rd round, waiting for him to pop if it doesn't happen this year. But I think you're correct, man. I love it, man. I love it. Let's see a big year from CES. My last one. Went back-to-back Red Sox legends, okay? Christopher Sale will throw 170 innings plus and strike out 200 guys for the Atlanta Braves. Call me a pessimistic Red Sox fan, but this guy just needed a fresh start, okay? What better place to go than the hot Atlanta Braves? I mean, This is a team that is like a well-oiled machine. It's a Lamborghini before he arrived. And now all Sale has to do is stay healthy. Okay, he's been tearing it up in spring training. In 11 innings, he's struck out 17, so the K's per nine is still there. Velo's looking solid, 95 to 96. And I think kind of like what we talked about, and you see the Dodgers do it with Kershaw. Well, I guess that's a bad example because he's hurt right now. But I think Atlanta is going to make some moves to keep this guy healthy.
Yeah.
And to let him get, he's got some freak injuries, man. Like, of course, he's got some arm stuff, his shoulder, and then he had TJ back in the day. But the finger thing, I mean, for crying out loud, that comebacker off the bat of it might have been Gleyber Torres, I can't remember, but just hit him right in the hand. He's had some fluky stuff, fell off a bike,
Right.
Like if you can just get him, get him a personal driver. Okay, I think we've talked about this before. Feels like I've said this before in this microphone. And let's just keep him safe. That dude's going to be nasty. And my favorite thing is what you said when we talk about it, playoff time. He's the perfect Bryce Harper, Yordan Alvarez repellent. Okay, just put him in there, and good freaking luck, and we'll have our popcorn ready. So that's it, man. He's gonna ball out for the Braves.
I like it, man. I mean, here's the thing, kind of like what we were saying with Glass now, health is really the question. You know, if somehow, some way, if he can stay healthy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looked good last year in stretches. Like, because I watched him pitch, and I was like, man, this guy looks good again. The
Yeah.
velocity was back up, and so yeah, if they can somehow, whatever it takes to keep him on the mound every fifth or sixth day,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I definitely like my chances of getting a huge profit on him if I take him in the mid to late rounds.
I love it, dude. I love it. Man, this has been fun. I feel like I could have come up with 10 more of these, but we don't have time for that, man. We got March Madness to watch. Got to wake up. Dude, we got our draft this weekend. You excited?
I'm very excited. Can't wait, man.
He's the reigning champion in our home league, guys. He's I think he's won 4 out of 5 years or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just he's got a problem. Okay, I gotta show him what it's like to not win. Okay, humble him. That's what I'm gonna try and do. I'm gonna do that for you guys. We're gonna see what happens. Hey,
I'm just the guy to try to take down. I'm the guy that you got to shoot for.
That's it. Yeah, shooting for the stars.
Right?
Maybe one day we'll catch one. Will. Hey, dude, before we get out of here, man, this has been a ton of fun. Anything to tell the people? Good luck in this draft season, I guess. This
I would
draft
just
weekend.
say anybody who's we appreciate everybody who listens, and I would say that if anybody is doing this for the first time or thinking about it, stop thinking about it, just do it. Do it, get your feet wet, have fun with it, as Cody mentioned earlier at the top of the show. Enjoy it, listen to us, we'll keep you updated on stuff throughout the year. But yeah, I would say if you're thinking about doing it and you haven't done it yet, just do it.
Yep.
Don't take our word for it. Do it. See for yourself. See if you have fun with it. I bet you will. And go
keep
from
it tuned
there.
in here. Yeah.
Right.
Keep it tuned in here.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the main thing. Have fun with it. If you've got a group of friends that you want to do with, that makes it even better and even more fun. But yeah, man, just do it. Have fun. You don't know until you try it. And yeah, it's prime season for sure.
Yeah. It's like the exact opposite of what is it, DARE? The DARE officers that come into your school? We're getting off the road. They're all about don't do it, okay?
Right.
But we're about to go out and try it. And then Nike's big on just do it.
Just do it.
I don't know what that's about, but you guys can look it up on your own time.
Yeah.
Reach out to us on Twitter if you have any draft questions or conundrum keeper questions. Send it to us, man. At BTH_Cody and at Will Sism. Like I said, check out the YouTube channel to see if I floss. Obviously can't during the show. And there's no telling what's going on in these teeth right now, okay? But this is a really good smoothie, man. It's got like mango, strawberry. Claire, you've outdone yourself, my love. Guys, we appreciate you. But until next time, thanks for listening to episode 73 of Bringing the Heat.